What the fuck do you use a keyboard
Not
for?
biased at all, I promise. Whoa. Let me start the podcast so the people can know who you really fucking are, right?
No.
Is everybody ready?
Yeah,
Is
sure.
everybody ready? Let's
Yeah,
go.
ready.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode, the King's Court podcast. In this corner, we have me, Brandon, the King. And in the other corner, we have...
You have Axo, the person who likes saying all the fucked up shit to Brandon off the recording. Nothing during this.
Why don't you say it on the air recording?
I don't want people to harass me afterwards, telling me it's like, oh, you should be nicer to Brandon and stuff like that.
What do you mean? It can't be any worse than the pings in GLC, right?
I fucking don't start me on that shit.
You have to know you're walking into a trap. You've fallen into my trap, Yugi boy. Today we have a very special guest, a returning guest. Wow, a double returning guest? This is crazy. But it is, well, we had a ban list. We have new cards coming. So, it was only right that I got the man Safer back in the building.
What up? What up?
Yeah, a bit late for a specific ban list episode, but still here.
No, we're going to talk about it, though.
Wait, it's definitely not too late. The thing's not even active.
Correct.
Yet.
Yeah, but all the hot takes have been taken
already. It's not
already.
active for another 2 weeks.
Listen, there's no hard.
I don't even know what the hot takes
out.
are. So
there you go.
It's true.
Easy.
That's true.
Ignorance is bliss. Or something like that.
I mean, that is part of the reason why I only occasionally check in on GLC during preview.
Yeah, see, it's so funny.
Occasionally I'll lurk.
Axie always tries to tell me that like GLC is not this place that I think it is, and and then all the stories I hear out of it is just like I never hear anything like that makes me want to jump in there.
Okay, that's just general negativity bias. Like if you go to Slack, you will get exactly the same things.
No, but like I feel like
Slack...
Slack...
I think GLC is like so much better than pretty much any other gaming like space, like typical gaming space that is as large as GLC is, right? But it's still what's the right way of phrasing this? It might be that the open public Discord server for Netrunner is a better place than open public Discord servers because the Netrunner community is just generally nicer and better. But that doesn't stop like the general trend of having like hundreds and thousands of people all in the same space commenting on text, like not degenerating into some sort of like negativity. Yeah,
100%. It's like just a lot of people in the same space, which like causes those things.
I mean, that's fair, but I mean, like, okay, when I go to like when I think about General Slack, it's just the retirement home. Everybody knows that. It's fine. It's clear. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
There's no messages there. Like there's one person. Go ahead.
Sorry?
There's no messages in the general Slack. There's like one person posting their clock pictures there. And like UK Slack is still like one where people are grumpy. And that's like 5% of the people base.
I mean, that's what I've heard, Either way, like, that's fine. I have people to tell me what's going on in GLC. Yeah. But Safer, like since the last time we talked, a lot has kind of happened. A lot is happening. A lot of work has been done. I'll just start off hot. How do you feel about this ban list?
About the ban list?
Yeah.
Good. I'm feeling good about the ban list.
Do we need like a little introduction? We don't have to do like all of it, but I think for some people who didn't listen to the first episode, it might be good to like...
No. This is where you put the thing in the thing below, linking them. If you want to learn more about Safer, the histories, or watch this old ban list stream, they'll be in it'll be below the episode. You can watch those and listen to those and then come back here.
I mean, yeah, but like I think we still need to...
If you don't know who this is,
you need to build like accolades for somebody to take his take seriously. So you were like the ban list team lead, SBT team lead, and dev person or something.
No, you see, this is why I do want to do this. That's already documented
Yeah, but
in
like,
the previous
no,
episode.
that's fucking,
Now
nobody
we're gonna-
listens to our old shit anymore.
But that's, you put it there so that they go and have to. Now you're just, we're going to get more views.
We're
Don't worry.
maximizing the clicks. Yeah. We're
Correct.
maximizing click throughs
Yeah.
and views. That's what we're doing here.
But also, like, real talk, if you don't know who Safer is by now, I don't know where the fuck you've been. But you're here now.
Look, I can cover it briefly. It's like not
Yeah,
gonna take
exactly. Like 2 seconds or something.
Whatever. This is just like the game of Netrunner. You're just always fucking babying them. Sure, go ahead. Cover it briefly.
All right. So yeah, Safer and online spaces, aka babying of Netrunner players, team lead. I lead the standard balance team, what will be soon called the format curation team for standard, and also the dev team. So I both work on cards to finalize them, and then also, the meta to refine it and make sure it's in a good spot.
All right, good.
Very good. You feel better now,
I 100% do. So now you can give us the take about how you feel about this ban list, up and coming ban list.
Oh, yeah. Now we can get to the good stuff.
I think the funny part is I didn't even really do the accolades. I just said what I currently do.
I mean, that's like pretty high level stuff already.
I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty, like, hype. In fact, I don't know how you do all of it, but, like, you're Superman. We're not.
Yeah, I don't know how to do all of it either. I'm not gonna lie. Look,
Like,
I think the ban list is good. The ban list is good.
Anything on the ban list that you feel like is controversial?
Controversial. Okay, so in my limited circles, the controversial things I think I've seen mostly are like deep dive coming back, and I'm not super surprised about that one being like the most like talked about one. I think it's pretty fair. Like if you're going to pick like a single controversial thing, I think that's a pretty reasonable one to point out.
There's a second one I will be coming back to, but
what is the second one? Is it ob related?
No, it's why the fuck is Latte not banned? You take out Hoshiko and you take out Hoshiko and Sable, and then you leave this fucking war criminal on the warpath, like destroying more buildings.
Dude, I didn't know I was going to get the heat from both angles this time. I didn't realize I was boxing both of you. Like usually Axes are like my corner, right?
Oh no! Actually, I feel like I'm going to be the most chill one. The babying of Netrunner wasn't actually directed at you. It's just more of a general thing that happens in Netrunner. But like, I feel like you're going to fight Axes today.
Oh, don't worry. I knew it wasn't directed at me. I just wanted to take on the mantle.
Oh, sick. You can have it then. I'll give it to you.
Lat being banned. I think that when you look at the ban list, I think it's in abstract. It's really it makes a lot of sense to look at it and go like, okay, I see a pattern here, and then there's like one piece of the pattern that's like maybe missing, right? Which would be the lat one. But I think that in our initial testing, which was like a little bit specialized, and I can talk about that a little bit later, but in our testing, we didn't really find that lat was particularly overbearing over other things. And I would even go as far as to say that like if you're just looking at reg value identities in Shaper, it's not like it's an open question if it would be lat or like Maggie is better. Like Maggie is obviously like a little bit more directed. You can't play events. So the fact that we have Creative Commission, Deep Dive, Anacam, and Lat all together does make for like an archetype that can exist that's not Maggie. But we'll see how it ends up panning out. But there's no reason for us to like put a card on the ban list just because it matches something from like an optical like perspective. Yeah, does that make sense?
So like yes, like in a vacuum, yes, but like so like why Sable and Hosh and not Lat? Like I guess you kind of gave us the not Lat, but then like why Sable? Because I feel like
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
It's not that I guess how we got here was a little bit different than one might expect. The journey is always important. So we started looking at Hosh and Sable through very different lenses and for very different reasons. Sable was truly about deep dive and focused on deep dive and our investigation on deep dive, and if deep dive could come back with all the new corp tools that people are seeing in Vantage Point. I think that all of them are now. Oh, I guess wait, this is going to be released afterwards, so I can just like talk about it.
Yeah, it's a release on Wednesday. So you're good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So like Wayland, the Wayland agenda, for example, is actually something that Bandgun can play and actually make deep dive like less reliable. There's a lot of like little pieces here and there that make it so that deep dive might keyword might not end up like being as format defining as it was previously. And like we're curious to see like where that will go, but we knew that it couldn't exist with Sable because Sable just is too consistent at generating early clicks for deep diving turn 2, turn 3. I mean, hell, you could deep dive turn 1 if you really wanted to, but so that was like the Sable portion. And then Hosh was about daily casts and allowing daily casts to be able to come back. And that is just simply, daily cast is arguably, I think, at its best in Anarch. I don't think it's arguable. I think it's fair to say that daily cast is at best in Anarch because you have Paladin to discount installs as well as price. And as a result, just reg value Hosh, like with daily cast, would in fact be overbearing to corpse, even with all these new tools. And so those are the two cards that we wanted to explore bringing back and seeing how, like, what would happen if they did. And then banning Hosh also unlocked a DreamNet unban. And so, DreamNet unban, plus we ban this reg crim identity. And now these other identities can explore having DreamNet around that maybe they want to do, and maybe brings them to, not the same level of Sable, but it allows people to explore things better. And that's when the picture starts to emerge and things start to make sense. So it's not necessarily that we started with, we're banning reg like Grey Goo identities. It was the picture emerged out of the testing and what started to feel right. And we're really, really happy with like where that landed. So that's the reason why Sable and Hosh are on there. It's not like, it didn't start with like Grey Goo, but that's where it ended. And like, we're like, great, this is feels like it is in line with what, the design and dev team were shooting for with the set anyways.
Yeah, that makes sense to me on like why Hoshiko was banned. But it feels kind of interesting that was the decision for Sable, because like if you're looking at unbanning like a really good win condition for a different faction and end up shooting like the reg ID out of a different faction out, it feels kind of weird, at least to me.
I think that's fair. It makes sense where it feels weird, but that's kind of the nature of one card games in general, but then especially an asymmetric card game like Netrunner, where there's just a lot of knock-on effects that are really, really hard to predict. And I mean, it is really interesting because like I just don't tend to think about the game in terms of like factions much. So people, you might have, let's say, Seb show up at a bunch of tournaments and people will be like, Anarch is represented this much, and I'm like, really, it was just Seb, and Seb is kind of its own archetype. And so if you have Seb and Hosh in the previous meta together, okay, that's two different archetypes. You can call it like Anarch as a whole, because like those are the factions, but they're doing like fairly different things.
Yeah, sure. And did you kind of want to increase the amount of like different archetypes you see in the game or something?
I wouldn't call that an explicit goal for the ban list. Like from the onset, I would say that it is the ban list team kind of reinforcing the goals for the set in general. So the way that our processes work this time were that VP has been locked in for a while. The cards have been like locked in for a while, and as a result of that, the ban list testing we could like take our time with testing and not put too much pressure on it. But we also were very, very mindful of just how much time we had and how we shouldn't be trying to solve the meta or explore new decks and archetypes and all this other stuff. It was really about trying to check for like general metagame health, check to see what established archetypes got benefits, like very clear benefits, and then test those against other established archetypes that were well known. And so, man, I'm trying to remember your original question where I was going with this. Actually, what was the original question?
Like, did you want to specifically increase the archetype diversity?
Archetype diversity. Thank you. Yes. So I think that it speaks to the success of the scoping of the set and what it was trying to accomplish, that naturally came out of the ban list testing. That's what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense?
I think
Hopefully that
so.
makes sense. Tell me if it doesn't.
Sorry, I was giving you first crack at it next because it was your question. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, same.
So, okay. Is there a possibility that Hosh or Sable could come back if this doesn't work out the way you intended? In terms of, okay, there's more exploring that is done, but like, it turns out that Anarch and Crim just don't get there, for example.
Yeah, I think there's a possibility of that. I don't personally, like, I wouldn't want to see that. I don't think.
Right.
But I'm just like not gonna like roll it out. Because we do need to prioritize like health of the metagame, however you want to define that. Like, and you know, if Prim, let's just say, was seeing 0 play without Sable, then I mean, okay, deep dive makes it complicated, but let's just say that, you know, Crim was seeing 0 play in spite of having, you know, these other cards, and like cards like Baz, who got at a minimum 2 support cards, but I would say a lot closer to like 3 cards that Baz is pretty interested in playing. If Vippy doesn't make a splash, hell, I think like, I know that Az isn't like a particularly good card, but like Az can still play Underdome irregulars for 0 credits, and like, I think there's things that you can do, right? And like Masterwork, you can use bad publicity on like Masterwork, for example. Like you can do things with like Chromat. If no one finds anything in Crim, then like, yeah, maybe it's just better to bring Sable back, depending on the testing and the rest of the meta and all these other things. But I think that the game is probably better off for not just having a bunch of Grey Goo decks being like the best decks.
Yeah, so like
I think the game is way more interesting as a result. I don't know if Event Lat hits the same vibes check for me in Grey Goo.
Really?
And I can't tell you why.
I feel like that's,
I'm open to being wrong.
I think like people who I talk with and how I feel is that Anikam Shaper is like green slop, where I just play Anikam and all the like busted econ events in Shaper, and you just pile everything together, and that is like, it already was like one of the best decks, and with Deep Dive, you fix the Shaper's like worst problem that used to be Shaper's win conditions, to kind of like just make green slop better, at least to my opinion.
I'll explain it in a different way. If Sokka's playing it, it's most likely the reggish shit you've ever seen. I think that's your first dead fucking giveaway that this is like this is you know what I mean? When you just see a bunch of propellers and revolver and just fucking events, so just like the most efficient breakers. Yep. Like I think it's like the part that I'm like, ooh. Like when you explain, it wasn't just that like this came out of we're hitting reg decks, makes sense, because out of the 3 of them, I think Lat is the most reg has of all of them, you know? Because I've, you know, conversations with, what did you call it? People in the, in my circle.
Format.
Okay.
In your circles, the circles, okay.
Sorry. in my circle.
Yeah.
And, you know, you guys educated us and talked to us about this new term, deck building tensions. And Lat just it doesn't really have that compared to the other things. So like, yeah, it's super great. It's like, yeah, it's really the difference between Lat and Megs is like Hosh and Lu to me, you know. Like you now have to build in the ways that you're going to be able to use the abilities. Same with Mags, but Lat is just like, I just draw a card if I do this thing. And I can put everything in it. Like, it doesn't matter. The next best card that comes out, straight into my Lat deck. Easy. No questions asked, right? So
yeah, so this is an interesting this is a very interesting, I think, conversation, because I think it helps kind of pull at like what exactly do players define as reg, because one of the things that you were talking about when you're talking about like Anacam Lat, I was like, you know what, Anacam Lat, the one thing that for me makes it feel a lot less reg than other things is that it has a clock, like it has a wick to it. It's not just I am putting, cleaver turbine down. It's not just like I'm trying to build to this board state, and then once I hit this board state, like I've locked you out, and there's nothing really that you can do after that. No, like Crim decks typically did have like a clock of some sort, or like a limited amount of like economy in them, but usually like the games ended before that, and I've kind of always felt like Event Lat goes through its deck so quickly and doesn't have the same kind of quality of economy like events that Crim does, to the point where it was a lot easier to run them out of economy later on. Not saying that's what's going to be the case coming up, and obviously like Deep Dive gives you a very clear way of ending the game before that would become an issue. Totally get that. I'm just saying, like, from a broad concept of like reg goo, I'm like, if you have like a very clear like limit on, I don't know, the number of barrier subroutines you can break in a single game because you're using exclusively propellers and why can I not remember the name? The green one, you know what I'm talking about. This is driving me crazy. Propeller and revolver. If if you have a limited number of propeller counters, then like there's something that you can do as the corp to abuse that and change it. You can, like, even in game, just like, I'm going to stack all of my barriers in the same place, and I'm just going to like run you out of them. I don't know if that resonates with y'all at all.
I can see the point being made. I just think I disagree with the point. It's because in Shaper you can still play like the most efficient breakers early, and you can still include stuff like Pressure Pike or Gauss in there as like your normal breaker. And I feel like Shaper also feels like it runs through the deck through the deck faster, just because it is the faction with actual card draw in there, and the ID draws more cards. So it will go through the deck faster, just because Shaper has the most draw compared to like Hoshiko or something.
So
which specifically will go through their cards with card abilities, not just drawing them.
Mm-hmm. So is a reg deck defined by deck building or play pattern? And if it's a mix of the two, what percentage do you put to each one?
That's a great question. I think reg decks are usually probably the decks that have the least amount of deck building tension, so that means that like you can just put value in the deck and it'll work. Do you know what I mean? Like why it's reg is just because like, okay, these are my options, and because I don't have any deck building considerations other than maybe like Anacam and like having enough events, I guess, is maybe the only tension there. It's just like I pick the most efficient things for what I'm doing, or the best value things for what I'm doing, right? Where it's like Mags can't do that because it's set, like, to use the ability, it says you have to have this many, like you have to have hardware or programs enough every turn to like trigger what you're trying to do. So, and that takes up slots, right? But here, like you unban daily cast, that goes straight into Lat. I don't know if that necessarily goes into Mags, right? Do we have slots for that? You know what I mean? Like it's just different. So like any sort of just flat value or efficient whatever can just go into what I would consider like a reg deck. I don't know if that is like, I don't know if that means the answer is like deck building, but I think that's what it is. And I think like it's probably like 95%.
So I think that my insights from where your answer is, because that does resonate with me a lot, is that it's actually about the economy of the decks. So it's like, it's both, it's deck building and it's play pattern, but it's about how the runner decks are going about generating value to pressure the corpse at some point during the game. Because I was like, Seb deck building was really hard to figure out. But then once it got figured out, it's kind of on rails and it's kind of hard to make adjustments because of how constrained it is. And so it's like, okay, is there deck building tension in Seb? And it's like, I think the answer is that yes. Just because the result is always kind of a very similar thing doesn't mean that there's not tension. It's just like there's so much tension that there's only one answer that was even figured out. But I think it's like, how do you get your money? And the daily casts mag portion, which I think mag could still run daily casts, but like that seems to be like the answer here, right? Where yes, it's about how easy is it to just include generic economy cards and have that be independent of whatever your other game plan is.
Yes, but also just like what it says on your ID, right? Like, I want to be. I think the reason it took so long to figure out, one of the reasons it took so long to figure out the Seb thing was that, like, just because it says connections on your ID doesn't mean you need to play all of them, or how much do you play, or like which ones are correct, or like which ones fit with what I'm trying to do, that sort of thing. And like that in itself is like, I think because you're, essentially attached to a type, like also makes you not reg. You know what I mean?
I think I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I say this not that I didn't like Hosh, Sable, or Lat, or thought that reg decks need to go in. That's not what I mean. I'm just kind of explaining, like, I think that would also be part of what I would be like. I would like look at an ID and be like, oh yeah, like this seems like it's just reg. And usually it's like the IDs that are going to give you, draw or click, I guess click or money or draw with like a very minimal thing that you have to do, and usually
a draw ID.
Sorry,
Sable is a draw ID. It says it doesn't say draw on the card, but it might as well say draw on the card.
It might as well say draw. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, like, yeah, draw is kind of baked into the regular, because they're just like at the end of the day more efficient, and then you put the most of the rest of the deck into it for what's needed at the time. But when you're kind of baked into a type, then it becomes very different.
So would Deep Dive Sable be considered reg? Like 3x Deep Dive?
So I wouldn't consider Deep Dive Sable reg because so again, when like going back to the first part, when I was looking at reg, it was just like when I look at reg decks, part of it is just like what's the most efficient, what's the most value, what's the most like that sort of thing. When you're building, when you're playing Deep Dive Sable, you are adding deck building tension into your deck, because now you have to think about all the ways of like how you're going to get this deep dive off. So you just become focused on that, right? So I wouldn't consider that reg. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel reg at all to me.
Right.
Yeah. Also, I have one other thought that I want to share here. We don't have to change topics, but do we think that the listeners will check the YouTube to make sure they're still listening to the King's Court? This is the most fucking cerebral King's Court thing I think I've ever.
No, it's so funny because you say that. We have all kinds of audience. So some really love the craziness. Some people love the banter. Some people love the Netrunner discussion. Some people are going to love it. Like it's all over the place with what people are like most interested in. I think honestly, like it's easier now that there are ban list, real like new cards to talk about all that stuff to really get back into real Netrunner discussions about cards and why and mentality and all that kind of stuff that I think some the fans were missing out or were missing before, because making content when Netrunner's not really happening in during the off season is what I call it, is difficult.
It
was off meta. It was off meta month times 3 for Kingscourt.
Yeah,
Basically.
exactly. Yeah, and so now that it's back on, it's like, no, I think they're gonna get more of this. And I think they're gonna enjoy it. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are like want it. So yes, and if they listen to the other 2 episodes that are, well, the episode and the stream that we did with you on it, they know
They know what
they know what they're in for.
Yeah, that's true.
Like when
That's
you
true,
get to speak to power, you like need to take it seriously.
Take that, Saber.
Oh God! Please don't call me power.
I told you it wasn't me you had to worry about. Listen, I'm chill. I'm mellow. I'm like, so like what I want to see is like bigger than scoop season, or how the meta shapes out like right away. I want to see, are we going to get 2 sets in a year? Are we going to figure out the balance in which that, districts doesn't feel like the time where you're playing the best netrunner, and End of Continentals or Worlds feels like you're playing like a husk of what once was. You know what I mean? Those are the kind of things that I'm looking at. Are we going to build off of what we have here, or is it just going to still be okay, we need to take this away, we need to take this away, and by the time we get to the off end of Monday, it feels like Startup Plus. Like, those are the kind of things that I'm looking for. So it's kind of a waiting game for me. So yeah, you're kind of fighting Axu today.
That's funny. Well, okay, let me. I do have a question for you off of that. How do you feel about VP in the cards that you've seen so far, and how do you think that reflects on those broader goals? Like, do you think that there's a change or a shift here in some way, shape, or form?
Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, like, overwhelmingly, yeah. I think I see a shift. I'm seeing a lot of what I want to see. Whether that actually plays out in terms of games and what ends up being too toxic for people or too good for like what the ban list or SBT needs to step in and do, like, TBD. But so far so good. I think in the set there's cards for everyone, which is really nice. Yeah. I think it looks like the power level has increased, which I've definitely wanted that.
Yeah.
It looks like, even from talking to people, like every day someone's like, "Oh, I want to explore this." I didn't think of that. Like, okay, good. Like, there's different avenues to explore. It's not like we're all really landing on the same thing based on the size of the card pool, which is nice. And so I think, yeah, you're going to see a lot of diversity. You're going to see a lot of back and forth. Like, I hope that SBT doesn't really have to step in until Continentals. Maybe that would be ideal.
That would certainly be ideal.
Yeah,
we'll see if that lucky.
Yeah. Right. I'd see. I want great things for us. That would be best case scenario, and I hope we get there. You know what I mean? I think that I think you really addressed some issues that I had with Corporation previously. It looks like those are being addressed. I think things I don't like is that, like, I think that there's still parts of Netrunner history that are repeating themselves that I don't like.
Like what?
I think that that you should maintain faction power level. You're never going to do it equally, but you should try to do it equally. And I feel like just being like, it looks like, Anarch NBN have been doing it for a while. We're taking some time off here. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think that's good, because then what happens is you put yourself in a trap where, if, for example, if Shaper and Wayland take off like the way that I think that they will, then SBT is now forced to step in sooner, because you're not seeing some of the other stuff that you want to see in terms of faction representation, but that's because the power level is skewed. I think that if it's more even, and you still like have NBA. I'm just using them because that's just how I think. I think like they are the clear losers of Vantage Point. Like I think that if you still allow them to participate at a decent level, like not that they, I guess if you give them equal power level toys that come out, like, and have that same excitement and things like that, then I think that makes it better for everyone. It makes your job easier, I feel like, in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. It's like the factions, having the different factions be at different power levels, I agree, is like not good. It's not ideal. I think it's totally fine for one faction to be a little bit better than the other, because there's always going to be some matter of like metagaming, right? Where it's like, if Crim is like not, like if Anarch is just better than Crim on the average, but then Crim has a better matchup into the tier 1 corp deck, then it's like, you have options, right? And I think that's really the goal. It's not like perfect balance or anything. I think that Anarch, Crim, Shaper are a lot closer in terms of like being in power level upon VP's release. Like if the, I've heard some concerns about like people thinking that it's just going to be a green sea everywhere. It's like, okay, if that ends up panning out, then okay, yeah, like that's not good. But on the corp side, specifically NBN, that one's much harder just because of the design of the factions. Like HB was really struggling, and we were able to give HB exactly what it needed with the set. Like, and it's not just one card. It's like, okay, they got an actually meaningful 5/3 that they
like
really,
best card
really
in the
need.
set.
I think so, to be honest. Like that I think that people, like, obviously people haven't played with it yet, but I think people are really, really undervaluating like just how much of a difference that clickback means in terms of like gameplay, like, and how insane it is.
Yeah.
But like the 5/3 is really, really good. Sleipnir, the code gate is like massive. You don't actually feel like you have to pay 6 for a 4 strength code gate anymore. Which, with Tungsten Taylor being around, like, is MIC playable? Don't know.
It's probably like a one-off.
Yeah, like as like a one-off, but you're never putting multiple MICs in your deck and being happy. Like, if there's any buzzsaw like at all.
What do you mean? Best card in the game, Rhyme. Let's go.
Don't encourage the GameNet players.
Don't aggregate. That's a joke. I have EA Sports coming after me for takes. After Madani, it was rough. But that was a joke. It was a joke.
But yeah, like, and then of course, like, Caveat Emptor was not shown to folks. Like, I think it's just going to be like a thing that people find out, and it's like, yeah, HB also really, really wanted another econ operation that actually gave the money, and that's the reason why they were importing Planogram, Han Save Review, like petty caches. Like that is what HB needed to do. They just didn't have a sense of like economy, so they're getting so much in the set because their needs were so clear, and they're such a simple faction, which makes them pretty easy to design for. Jinteki arguably is not getting that much power in this set, and you know what? Alco's still going to be plenty around, and we're still able to give some support to like Glacier and stuff, right? And the ID is pretty cooked. They cooked on the ID 100%. For sure, right? Wayland, you get like Rig Capture back, and you get all these other like tie-ins from previous things. We'll see like exactly where all the cards land, but like, yeah, you get Event Horizon. You get like concepts like Flywheel, even like Toxin like clearly has its like place in like a couple different things, because it's a code gate. You did like Wayland just straight up didn't have a big code gate that they could run before. So and options are important. This is a very long-winded way of getting to NBN. What do they do? What's their identity? Tags? Okay, but like their tags is like shouldn't be the only thing that they do, and the only way that they're like interacting with the runner. And arguably, I think there's not even enough space and vantage point truly to ensure that like NBN has like a brand new way of playing. Like the bad publicity and gray ops and illicit stuff is tying into like some of the older card pool and stuff, but it's not inherent. Man, I'm like, what I said was wrong, right? We gave them a new way of playing with this identity, and I think the identity will be good, but it is not kind of redefining the faction, and all of the additional pieces that we gave to NBN is like bringing up the tide, I guess, for their faction, but their floor was already so low that it's not going to feel as meaningful as like some of the other stuff, if that makes sense. I got another thought, but please talk
ahead.
about that. I want to
go. Let it fly.
Okay. So here's I think like the crucial thing to do for that, like is really, really helpful for folks to do when thinking about like faction strength, is you just go to Netrunner DB and then you look at the sets and you look at a particular faction. So if you, for example, go into Ashes, right, and you look at Anarch, you're like, this is most of the cards that I see play in Anarch right now. Like there's so much concentrated strength in some of the cards that is still around. And then as a result of those card strength being so concentrated, future sets actually got weaker and weaker. So if you go and then look at like an RWR or an Elevation, right? What do the like cards look like? Okay, well in RWR, you had a package that specifically was designed to not play with the existing power cards. In Elevation, when you're trying to build reg stuff, we like even tested for like not like Hosh, right? Like we didn't develop Elevation with Hosh. Like we did all play testing with Hosh Band, and even still, like the power of a lot of the Ashes cards and the companions like overcompensates and then makes like other cards, just to make the factions balanced, weaker, right? So if you go back and look at NBN, let's look at Ashes NBN. Like, how about we not? How about we not? So we don't remember that GameNet is a real card. But I'm just going to quickly run through the cards that are either banned or currently see play, right? Or consideration, I'll say. Banked, sure. Digital rights management, okay. GameNet, let's please forget this identity is real. F2P.
Oh, it's real. We're back, baby.
Please don't. Gold Farmer's banned. Daily Quest, Bologna's banned. That's what their card pool is. Like, I had to call out Ganked.
Yeah.
It is such a niche.
It's tough.
Digital rights management. So like, Daily Quest is arguably probably the maybe F2P. Like there's so much conditionality in what that is. So you can literally just say NBN's a set down. Like they're actually just straight up a set down. Okay. How about we go into Borealis? Look, you have some gas here, right? You have some gas. You have cards like Mesvichesvo, Unsmiling Serebna, very good cards. Shipment from Vladimirs, right?
Wait, but very good?
Mesvichesvo you can count as very good.
Mesvichesvo is a cracked card.
Mesvichesvo is a cracked card?
Okay, good. Cracked is relative. It's not ban ready, but the fact that other factions regularly import it, I think should speak for itself. Also, it is
regularly
it is
import it.
I think.
What? Yes. What?
Like
it's
you
only
mean BTL?
realistically BTL.
Everybody's BTL.
Okay. I mean, some of my bias might also come from like playtesting a little bit here and like seeing what people are like toying with and trying with, but like unironically, like I think people were toying with like Mesvichesvo and Elio for a little bit. Like the influence doesn't work out, but like I don't know, Mesvichesvo is an effective good piece of ice.
Brandon, you cannot attack like specific wordings this much. Mesvichesvo is a good card from the set. Is it the only good card in set? Yes, if you don't count Drago, but like
no. Listen, I don't want this to come out as attacking because like it's not it's not me crashing out or anything. I just want to be clear is more what I'm saying because here's the thing, right? And I think why it's really important to be clear on this is because I remember after the stream that we did, you know, there was obviously a lot of hype, a lot of chatter, and it's like, you know, the head of SBT said this. Oh, did you hear that? And it's like, you know, a lot of things can be taken out of context if they're not clear. And that's why I want to make sure we're very clear. Like, because
okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, like right. And I'm like, so when we say message tests are very good, I want to give you the opportunity to clarify that, because like that is something that's definitely going to be accurate and be like, oh, they think that this type of ice is very good. Like, what is the future of ice? What is the like the
in the format that my brain has been existing in for like 2 to 3 years? Because keep in mind that during RWR, as the part of the development team, even though there was bones in the format, I specifically was like, I think that we should be reducing trash costs, because I had rotation in mind. Like, for pretty much the entirety I've been at NSG, the fact that rotation was coming up and that we were going to be in a only NSG world, like, was front and center of my mind. So within that context, right, not the game of all time, right, Mesvechesvo, in terms of code gates, is one of the best code gates I think that we have. And it's in a faction that doesn't have very many tools. And so I don't think it sees as much play. But like, what code gate, what like large code gate, right? 4 cost or more code gate do you want to, like, would you rather play? No influence, right? Like, would you rather play MIC not out of Leo or Mesvechesvo?
MIC.
Like, unironically.
I think so.
I don't
know. The fact that
this is this is good, because like that's why I'm glad I'm like, ooh, I wanted to stop this to be clear, because there's important context that, like, or a lens of like the way that you're seeing it. I wouldn't look at ice that way, but like you describing it and looking at ice this way is, I think it's important for the listener to know that you're looking at it this way.
Yeah. I mean, I consider white space to be a good code gate piece of ice in current standard, because I think that it is. I mean, I think that I think that's not a hot take, right?
I have too
and
much.
White space before was stone cold unplayable.
Yeah, I have too much historical bias to call it a good ice.
I think that like this is what I mean. I think that like ice can change over time, just depending on what the meta is. But like if I looked at white space in a vacuum, like if the game is where I would want the game to be, white space would be very mid.
Yeah. That's totally reasonable. Yeah. Can y'all indulge me in an exercise, and I can just read out all of the code gates in current standard? MIC, Scatterfield. Obviously, Scatterfield actually good, right? Yeah. Cool, great. Vertigo's coming up. Wave, Pulse, Half Rune, Tributaries banned, great. Atini, Microweb, Vampire, NASA, Knowledge Seeker is coming up. We are printing better code gates. Diviner, Ingram Flush, Maze, Virtual Service Agent, NPOT, Piranhas, congratulations, Mesvechesvo, Funhouse, Valenchow, Descent, Silendra, Anvil, Afshar, Flyswatter, White Space. Excluding the banned cards and the VP cards coming up, I think that Mesvechesvo is by and large the best code gate ice.
Yeah, and that list was tough.
That list is incredibly tough. So like when I say Mesvechesvo is cracked, I go, yeah, it's literally the best code gate in the format. So like that is...
I would love to give the caveat that I just don't think code gates are very like, okay, if the like it reminds me of high jump, right? I'm like, yeah, like really sick at high jump. And like, you know, with the caveat that like it's, you know, this is my like my local, this is my like, I'm sick in gym class, you know, I'm not fucking sick.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what I mean? Like we also have to say that maybe code gates just aren't that good, and that's kind of my feeling. So I just wanted to make that clear, because I'm like, I don't want people to think, and this is what I mean, right? Before we had like before I felt like the communication between, you know, like regular folk and like regular folk sounds bad. Okay. Between I was playing the game and like SBT or Design or whatever the case may be, is that then it would come out like this ice is pretty good, or this is the best coding we have. But it's like, then you think without context, you think, okay, this is the power level of code gates going forward. Well, you know, that's kind of like, it's kind of...
Well, people at this point will have, by the time this comes out, people will have seen Sleipnir,
Yep.
And Sleipnir is like actually very good. Like
100%.
Can you read Sleipnir?
better than much better than Mesvachesvo in my opinion.
I think Brandon doesn't know Sleipnir yet, but
I'm not off by heart. It'll take me a while to like incorporate their names with what they do. Yeah, which one is that again? Just to remind me.
It's the 4 strength, HB, 4 strength, 4 res, code gate, 3 subs, hard on the run, last sub. It's it's 2 influence.
Mm-hmm.
You remember which one, right? Now, presumably.
No, I don't remember the other subs.
All right,
I'm drawing a blank.
It's draw 1. You may shuffle 1 card from HQ.
It is a
or
4
Arcana.
strength.
Does it draw a card?
It does.
Yes, it does. Yes.
How many?
1.
You may draw 1 card. You may shuffle 1 card from HQ or Archive.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's like pretty hype. Yeah, no, I just wanted to be, because like I think that like even here you said we are printing better code gates. So there's like, now we know that, hey, maybe this is the best code gate we have, but that like we know where the bar is as well.
Mm.
I just thought that was important.
Yeah, like I'm not saying like Mesvachesvo is the best code gate ice 1 ever printed, or 2 that NSG should ever print. Like that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And I'm glad that we're able to like clarify. But like
yes.
I do kind of, I think it's really important to always keep things within the context in which, we're experiencing them, and try to account for historical biases, because I don't know, like historical biases that don't account for the context changing is how, I don't know, it's like, I think part of the reason why people are like, why do old people get to vote? Like this went off the rails very quickly. Hopefully you understand what I meant.
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
it's like, why do people like still think like, I don't know, but I understand the point.
Yeah, and it's human nature, right? Like we generally do not keep up. Like that is like a feature of getting old. Like you think that your body can do more than it can as you get older, and that's just like what all humans experience. So it's like reasonable, but that's why I like these exercises of going to NRDB and then just like looking at stuff, because bringing it back around, like, cool, NBN within Borealis in comparison to the other factions, it got some stuff.
Yeah, like 3 cards, sure.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have Liberation, which did have like Epiphany and is good, but is its own self-contained thing. And is also only good once the other context rotated, right?
Yep.
And then you have like Elevation VP. So it's like, okay, let's say that realistically you only had Elevation, the Liberation Cycle, and Vantage Point. That is the startup card pool for, well, it's not actually startup card pool, but it's like startup. It's a little bit past like startup. So it's like plus. It's like if you played like an NBN startup deck versus a standard like Prim deck, like that is like what is actually happening. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting because I think I agree with most of it. I think that like the Jateki part alarms me. Where it's like it's okay because yes, we did kind of support Glacier. The ID looks pretty good, that sort of thing. But like the first end is where it's like, yeah, Alka's still gonna be pretty good. It's like I don't like the leaning, but like it's gonna be fine ultimately. But like NBN is tough because I think HB got like what it needed. And if you want to, outsource the development of, NBN, I know a few people, and you have my number. You know what I mean? Like, well, not my number, but like, you can always DM me. You know what I mean? Like, NBN could be, like, honestly, like, the only reason that like it's okay for you right now is Epiphany saved your ass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Epiphany came in clutch.
I did help.
Like,
design some Epiphany cards and stuff, so like previous me saved my own ass, I guess.
Very good, very
Brandon,
good.
If
but
you
like
claim,
saving your own ass.
Okay, Brandon,
yeah.
If you claim that it's super easy to fix NBN, what issues do you think there currently is in NBN card pool that you would fix easily with one set? Because like the HP ones you can easily
I just
spot, but these ones you really just can't.
I just think that like I think it's also like when I look at it as styles of play, really, right? Like I get there is an easy answer of zeroing in on tags. But I don't really see it that way. I really see it as like styles of play. I think you have, an asset
agreed.
way of playing the game. You have a nebula way of playing the game, and you just don't have anything else. You know what I mean? And but I think part of that is card pool, right? So like you have. I'll give you an example of cards that I see other places that like NBA did not get, right? So like Kentucky got Charlotte, HB got Humanoid, and Wayland got Anthill, right? You didn't get a remote accelerant, right? So like playing out of the remote and moving through the remote is hard, right? I think you didn't really get an agenda, maybe till now, but like you were just really borrowing a neutral. Well, I shouldn't say neutral. That's wrong. You were, I think, an agenda that like accelerated what you were trying to do. Like when you scored it would be nice. I think you're working on it, but like the ice needs some work. And like honestly, like even that like 9-6 century, it's like what? Why? Just why? Like I just it's like as I said at the beginning, it just feels like sometimes it just feels like NBA is gonna take a time off here. Like it's like but like the ice needs to be there so that you can have flexible styles of play. And that really isn't there either. Like you can zero on tags, but if it's just ice, if your best ice is tag ice, well that's what it's gonna be. You know what I mean? Like but I understand why it's hard here because NBN was chosen to get the ID. So now you obviously have to give it support, right? So
yeah, it's so it is. So one, the identity is supporting a different like archetype that wasn't available in NBN before, which is like in my mind, it was designed to basically be rush, right? Or apply fast pressure. That's just like kind of the nature of like what a deck that actually is trying to accumulate bad publicity is going to do. So like, I think that is kind of what the ID like represents. It is trying to be a new, different way of playing. And then in terms of like the points that you're hitting on, okay, so like one, agendas. Next big thing is not as powerful as I think we were intending it to be within the Elevation dev cycle. There were some iterations where it was stronger, and I don't know. Sometimes you just like miss by like 10%, and that ends up having like ramifications, right?
Oh, really?
In terms of
next big thing has grown on me. I was a big doomer of next big thing at the beginning. I think to me, I think the next big thing is actually in a fine place, and the things around it need to be brought. I think you hit there.
I mean, good to hear. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the card is certainly like playable, right? But I look at next. I mean, okay, my own lens, like taking off SBT hat, taking off dev hat, taking off NSG hat, like just pure player hat, right? I look at next big thing and I go, man, this is no luxury line. This is no Bologna. This is no Fuji. Like this is no like.
Well, what are you, me?
No, I just mean like from my lens, like as a deck builder, when I'm trying to build NBN decks, like usually when I putting next big thing in the deck, it is a genuine like, okay, no, here's the triangle, right? So the big ice in NBN is like bad, right? It's like not particularly playable. There's always better things in other factions. Cloud Eater better than Seraph, for example. So like, what in the world am I resing with Sam that makes it valuable? And like, why am I doing that in NBN? So then you're looking at next big thing, and it's like, how do I build synergies around this? And usually it's like, okay, it gives me some consistency, and I want to be playing YDL. Like that's the most powerful thing I can be doing with next big thing. is like some sort of combo thing, some sort of like YDL thing. So it's not that I look at next week thing and I go like, man, this is like really bad or whatever. I just look at this and go, for a 5-3, this thing gives decks very little direction, and it doesn't have that much power for the 5-3 slot in particular, to the point where it's regularly going to be competing with other like 5-3s that we print in the future for NBN, right? So like in the state that NBN is in right now, like its 5-3 slot is fairly weak. Like you don't have like a super strong like 5-3. That's half the reason like the innovation on Epiphany, where it's like, let's cut the 5-3 and just run only 2 pointers. So yeah, like I see the 5-3 thing as being a weakness. I completely agree with the ice being a weakness, but I also want to point out that like historically, right, NBN's ice is designed to be weaker. Like I'm talking about like, FFG days. I'm definitely talking about earlier NSG days. Like that's something that needs to get figured out, but is actually up the pipeline for me. Like I do not get to make the decision of what NBN ice is and is not allowed to do.
Yeah, I think I need to contest the claim that NBN ice has been weaker in FFG times, because we used to have like all timer ice in NBN. The stuff like Data Raven, stuff like IP block,
okay, Data was cracked, yeah.
Yeah, IP block.
IP block is cracked.
Turnpike.
Turnpike.
All the small ice basically were like game winning, like all trends.
Okay, so I feel you there, but like also we didn't list that much ice. Like
you need like 3 or 4 good ice, like, and that's enough.
Slot machine.
Okay, I mean I agree with that, but like Toll Booth was in the last meta and didn't see any play.
No,
like,
Toll Booth was like 2014 ice only.
Yeah. Like I mean I was definitely playing when Toll Booth was like literally the best ice, right? But like Paywall, I think you look at Paywall. Paywall is us trying to make good NBN ice again. Like this thing is a very good rate.
You're right. It is a good rate, right? But it only serves a style, right? So like for example, like I look at Tithe. Tithe is a great piece of ice. But really you just see Tithe in Awe, but you don't even see it in like Alco anymore. You know what I mean? Like not very much. Like even though its rate is good, but its rate is good at like 1 to res, 1 strength, like whatever. You know what I mean? It's not sure. I'd like it in a GameNet deck, or I'd like it in like maybe protecting an asset or something, but like it's not holding down any fort. It's not scaring anyone. It may be
pieces, right? We're adding pieces, but that's that's the thing is, right? That's all we can do is that like that. And this is actually a really, really good like soundbite or whatever for Vantage Point, which is it is a collection of pieces that can be added to the card pool and make the card pool more robust. And so talking to your point around like Paywall is like a piece and it doesn't build out anything on its own. It's like, yes, but it's in line with stuff like Flood the Market, right? It's in line with maybe a hype machine, or what is this card? Magistrate Revolu. I don't actually know how to pronounce it, but it's like we have 10 cards in the set for the core factions, right? One of them is an identity, and the identity is doing a new concept, so it needs pieces around it. And then what do we do with the other ones? Okay, we're trying to make them cohesive, so a new style can be built out of it, or it supports things and it's cohesive. And so like NBN Glacier, as an example, like we tried to give it a piece with I should stop trying before the pronunciation guides out. But it needs more than just a single piece of ice. Like, let's say that we brought Hydra back, like Lethe was Hydra, right? A very good Glacier piece of ice. Like, does NBN Glacier come back? No, that's not enough, right? So like, it's going to take a little bit of time, and it's like unfortunate, but it's like we're just going to do the best that we can with the thing that we can do, and the best thing that we can do is make sure that we're hitting more regular releases, right? Like that is like actually the single best thing that helps us. So
yeah, I agree with that, but I also don't want this to be missed from from I guess the conversation is that like definitely like okay, I see a lot of these cards as like pieces of the puzzle. I'm great that it's on the top of your list, but it's also like, what if you told the ice-starved faction that we were giving you Tithe when Tithe is a neutral card and everyone gets to play? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like I understand where it's going, and I understand that one ice can't save it all, but it's also like, as the example, I don't know if paywall is like hitting the way that you want it to hit, is I guess what I'm saying. Now, like in terms of the road forward, but it is a solid ice, and so like yeah, like hopefully we get more of not more of this, no more of this, but more solid pieces of ice in other ways going forward.
Yeah.
Can I'd like to say one more piece on paywall here, if you don't mind, which
Please.
is that NBN as a faction is one of the, I'm going to go back to like the NBN is a hard faction to design for. And part of that is because it has multiple axes built into it, right? It is the tagging faction, but then also it shouldn't just be the tagging faction, right? Jinteki kind of has this with net damage, but Wayland, HB, they don't have these same kinds of like, our card pool is naturally split between core concepts. And so that means that like it is sometimes harder to design for this stuff. And so paywall, right? If you wanted to be an NBN deck that didn't need to care about tags in some way, shape, or form, you still want a small barrier, and ideally you don't have to pay influence for it. And paywall can be that option. It's not a gear check thing because that's a faction design thing, right? Direction. Like I would need to actually double check with the design team so I'm not going to like say like definitively one way or the other, but I think there's a good chance that, really small, hard end the run NBN like barrier is like not a thing that is within like the color pie, So like paywall is doing like roughly what it would be for like NBN, if that makes sense. And like ping isn't going to go anywhere and is really strong. I hope that helps a little bit, but like NBN is certainly on our radar,
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's good to know, because I think this is a great time to insert Jai's feelings. Okay. And it was R plus died for this, and and so far I don't get it. But I hope there is there's a plan going forward that can, I guess, diversify and be a bit more, improve the ice. I don't know, give it that pop, that sizzle that you like. NBN used to be the faction, and it's just kind of like, we'll see. Sorry, go ahead.
I encourage you to try Synapse when VP comes out.
I think I played one test game with like faking Carson J in it, and Synapse had actually some stuff. Relating to Synapse, I think I had conversation with Jai also, and there was like a talking point about like a design thing. If you can answer it, it's totally fair if you can't. It seems like a lot of these new tagging cards kind of just delete their tags by themselves. Is that specifically trying to build Synapse support into every single tag card, or just a design like difference nowadays?
It's not specifically trying to like make everything a Synapse card or whatever. Like we definitely like there is a card. I think that this is a toggle basically for us. We know that we generally like our tag punishment to like our heavy tag punishment to be removing tags. Like we think that is good. Like end of the line removing a tag is an improvement over Scorched Earth, right? Bigger picture removing the tags is better than market forces. Like we consider that to be a success.
When you say better, Do you mean better as a designer and how it feels to
health
play?
for the game.
Sure.
Better gameplay experience. This is me with the dev hat on. Game designer talking here.
Yeah, just have to make sure that...
Yep, it is better for the game. It is a better gameplay experience when the things that the tag punishment, that is really hefty, removes the tag. We build that into the cost of the card effectively. And it's just a toggle. It doesn't mean that every single tag punishment operation in the future is going to remove tags. Mm-hmm. That's not what it means. It's just that I don't know, using the end of the line, bigger picture examples, like bigger picture is already stealing your money. It doesn't need to steal the money, make you zero, and then also say, congratulations, you now also can't pay to remove the tags. The big design thing for me here is don't have players literally win the game or functionally win the game without literally winning the game. Don't make it so that the game goes on for 5 or 6 turns where the runner just has to sit there clicking for credits and clearing tags, and the corpse is looking for an agenda, and it takes an additional 10 or 20 minutes. No one's having fun in that game. So just remove the tags, let play continue, try to push the game to a conclusion. Just because I will also say that Synapse is going to get better with a mix of these two things. You don't want every single one of your tag punishment cards to be removing a tag. You'd rather be able to do some sort of 1-2 punch where, hey, I play, you're tagged, cool. You have a single tag. I play my one that doesn't remove the tag to do something that is, hopefully appropriately costed. Then do the one that removes tags, installing a thing and setting me up. Shimon from Vladimir doesn't remove tags, for example, and it shouldn't remove tags. Does that make sense?
It does. It's definitely makes sense.
So yeah, I mean, something like Unleash, is a card where this is a meme, right? Or at least I imagine it will be a meme, or it will be a more jank inspired decks that people will have fun with, but it's not I'm expecting this to be competitive. But Unleash would definitely be a strong card if it didn't remove the tag, leading to way more kill combos, probably out of Alco and stuff. But then Synapse, the fact that it removes the tag means that and it's an additional cost, so it's very clearly happening before the other thing is resolved. Cool, I can now install the piece of ice from HQ, and that's a lot cooler. And that is a better design synergy, in my opinion.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's kind of funny. I think Unleash was a card that people I know definitely went to cook with in the kitchen. Yeah. There is some nasty stuff that you can do with it.
Cloud Eater is big. I
think just forcing a tag as your tag punishment is pretty good. You have these decks that played end of the line in Alco. You can kind of LARP that effect without paying for influence with just unleashing a... What's the 3-cost sentry that does 3 damage?
The 3-cost sentry that does 3 damage. Are you talking about Bathy?
Yeah, Bathymus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I agree. I agree that Unleash Bathy is a thing that people might start doing just to save influence, so you're not paying, in the meta where it was 2 end of the lines because you really needed 2 end of the lines, you could not afford to be on a single one.
Yeah.
Having this be an influence free 3 damage, and you're saying I have to go exactly Unleash end of the line for 7 because that still beats well, I guess that doesn't beat Stone Chips, but it does beat Anacam.
Yeah.
It doesn't beat Lat Anacam, but I don't know, you still could have Mightscaping in the mix, right? So I can see that being a potential thing, but I consider that just to be a broad success for this kind of card.
Yeah.
Where its main primary reason for existing is definitely brewing and letting people get cool moments and kind of dreaming big. But then it still has these potential niche applications, and that's the different pieces, the different piece methodology at play here.
And I should be trying Synapse.
You should be trying Synapse.
I'm not promising anything. I just think that it's it is, before there was, I think it was a mistake if you were playing Synapse instead of something else, and now there's an actual thing that it clearly does and clearly does better than other things.
And what is that thing?
I mean, look, I can't solve the meta for you, right? You just want me to like hold your hand all the way there. Come on, Brandon.
I mean, I think it's not really me. I think it's more that people are going to be asking that question in a is this person cooked sort of way, like, and I want something kind of to be inspired to try it, you know?
Sure. Okay, so I'll give you what I'm going to try day one in Synapse, and you can go over there. But first, I'm going to say that, like, as a reminder, I did play testing for this earlier on, and then the cards changed, and I moved on to a future product, right? And helped with some general like design issues that were coming up, like certain fires that needed to be put out. Like I occasionally jumped in towards the end, but like, I was almost more of a designer on this set than a developer in some ways. And for banlist testing, we very explicitly were trying to not explore future things, right? Like, the goal isn't for us to be able to play with the cards ahead of time. The goal is for us to make sure that like known issues, like known archetypes are not going to be issues, right? Because we want the community to ride with us, right? We don't want it to be like, oh, well, we solved the meta 3 months in advance, which would be impossible with a small group of people either way. And so then we're banning Synapse because we found it to be too good too good in testing, and people are like, what the fuck are you on?
So like the grid ban.
We as a community should be doing that. Yeah, like we as a community should be doing that together, right? Like if this is not going to happen, but so I'm just going to continue to use it as like an example. But like if Synapse ends up being like a tier 1 deck and people are calling for like bans out of like specific cards and stuff, like then it's earned if it ends up happening, right? Like everyone's on the same page. We all know what's going on. Like we're all in it together, right? Rather than like some people like from on high being like, well, we, found this thing. You peasants could never figure it out. Let's like, come on, right? Community is going to innovate. Community is going to find stuff. And like, that's what we're here for. We all enjoy that, right? Now, the thing that I'll be trying on day one, Synapse Nihilo agent, basically gives you one, you want like cheap gear checky ice anyways for Nihilo, because like you don't want to stick the bag to like the bad pub at all, but you get the tag removal. Let me check the timing on this again. If I remember correctly, when your turn begins, remove a tag. So you actually get a clickless beginning start of turn thing that doesn't have any restrictions, which means you can just fast advance to 3/2. You can just fast advance to 3/2 with this. You can also do for fast advance far more than a 3/2 with Flood the Market. And Nihilo Agent is now taking up the slot and is in line with like the general play patterns that you want to be doing with like single ice in front of assets, right? You can also, you just play flop. That card is, I think no one's gonna yell at me for this. Flop is cracked as a card.
Really?
Watch someone be like, no, flop isn't a crack card, right? So it's like flop is a crack card and it's definitely worth the 3 influence. So like play flop, play like 2 Flood the Market, play Nihilo Agent out of Synapse, and the big thing is like Synapse before just did not trigger like much at all, right? And now you can get it to like reliably trigger. That's probably what I'll be trying out like day one with Synapse. At some point, I have a lot less faith in it, but I am going to in fact try like a more glaciary, like maybe Unleash build of Synapse, where the idea is that you go big on the fact that it ignores install costs when the tag removal happens. So you actually probably can play like a little bit slower and be like, are you going to check ice? If not, then I am going to put this Nihilo Agent down and just, like the 1 BP does not matter for how taxing my ice is. And like in that deck, I'm going to play Lethe. I'll be trying Lethe out and seeing how that goes. And maybe like I'm probably still playing Cloud Eater because Cloud Eater is so much better than Seraph. Like I might play like a single Cloud Eater, and then that's you're like the worst mode on that, right? Is usually tags, right? It's like damage, trash, tags. It's like, oh, you're taking like 3 tags. Like that's actually like meaningful, because I'm yellow. So I don't have like good hope for that deck, but like I'll try it.
No, but those are some like definitely nice ideas to definitely try and dig into. People, you got free deck building advice right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's that.
Yeah.
Do you have concerns with Shaper at all?
I'm gonna need you to be more specific. Specifically, deep dive in meta stuff, or like long-term design direction stuff. Like what's your what do you?
Do you have any concerns that Shaper may be too far ahead of the other factions? And therefore that leads to a lot of
right. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
I think it is. If I have a concern about the upcoming meta, it is. What's the right way of phrasing this?
Mm-hmm.
I trust the opinions of the people that like led to the led us to our conclusions that it was okay for deep dive to come off the ban list.
Yes.
Personally, I don't care for what deep dive does to like what it does to corpse, like what it necessitates from corpse.
Right.
And I'm curious to see how it will end up panning out when when it's out in the wild. And I could easily see it going either way. I could see deep dive being, a massive issue. I could also seeing a reality where it is not actually good enough to bring to reliably give shapers wins. Mm-hmm. If that is the only thing they are trying to accomplish. I think both of those realities are possible, and like we're only going to find out by playing, right? And like we'll see what happens.
Right.
Okay, I'm also interested.
I'll also say that I'm not happy that like creative commission is like needed in the card pool either. Like
real.
Yeah. Like that thing shouldn't be as cheap as it is, but here we are.
So you were talking about the process behind the ban list and being happy with that. Like, how did you actually come up with the ban list? Was there like playtesting? And did you playtest all the cards on the ban list? Or did you just like specific target some of them?
Yeah. So after Worlds and after people kind of did like a recovery from Worlds, right? We knew that we had the holidays coming up, and the set was already done, and we got a group of testers together, knowing that like some people are just like not going to be as interested in off meta month, and this was going to be a pretty good time for getting people to like jam games and be have some like focus testing. I honestly do not remember what our initial testing list was, but effectively we started with just like, hey people, like here's what we are trying to unban. Please play, kind of some existing archetypes that you think get bolstered by, cards in VP, and let us know how it goes. Big mind to like Alco, Ob, like we know these things are going to be big. Hosh was not, I think, in the initial testing environment. I don't think. I know Sable wasn't. Right. Man, it's been so long at this point that I actually have to go back and check. I just don't remember. But yeah, so we did this first round, and then the holidays kind of kicked in and things settled down a lot. And then we knew that BP's date was getting closer and closer, and we're like, okay, we need to get like one last kind of like push of momentum here. Try it out, bringing daily casts back, I think, because we were very mindful that like the corp tools now are just demanding that runners have more economy than they did in elevation standard, like after we took their economy away. And from there, we kind of had a lot of internal discussions about exactly like where we wanted to take the data that was given to us by like the testers, and found this direction. The reason why this was a different process, and that sounds like pretty normal in stock standard, right? But the reason why it was weird this time is because the amount of time that we had. Like it was more time than we've ever had before in like as a stable of environment as we've had before. And honestly, I think I could have done a better job of managing momentum and managing like focus of people and direction of conversation, because when you don't have like a specific timeline or due date for things, like stuff just kind of like, you know, the tasks expand to fit the timelines that you give them. So like one of the things that I'm thinking about doing in the future is when we do these testing sessions, we're just going to do like 1 week. It's like, this is the list. We have exactly 1 week. Here's like a given like Saturday or Sunday encompassing. That's a jam day, like to try to give people like, here's the window where like people are going to be on. We're going to jam games to find an answer. And then at the end of that week, we're closing testing and we're going to ask for feedback and results. And then the team will discuss that instead of having it be like a lot more open and like, maybe it's like 3 weeks before, you know, it's just like, hey, have people got games on like X, Y, or Z or whatever. Because like what was helpful for us this time around was, hey, we have specific questions. Like, did this get answered? Great. And I mean, we even ended up changing the influence of one card very, very last minute, right before printing, as a result of some of the testing that we did. So that was a fun one. Oh yeah, wow. Even on I have all of the cards locally, and the version I just pulled it up. My version's at 2 influence instead of 3.
Whoops.
No. It's not. Like it definitely was done properly.
Yeah, I can go. We don't have to really re-release everything. A couple of key cards that I'm asking, like where they tested. Did you test Moshing and Cyberdeck Sandbox?
Cyberdeck Sandbox was talked about, not tested. I think that Cyberbox, in a world where Fly Swatter is an important card, and also like it's just ridiculous to be able to res your Fly Swatters for net positive credits. I think that the card pool has been designed with Cyberdeck with around the understanding that Cyberdeck is not going to come back, and I think that kind of prevents it from realistically coming back. Moshing, it was certainly talked about. I can't remember if we actually tested it this time around or not. I think that we didn't. I think that we didn't explicitly test it because I think we didn't explicitly test it in part because we don't realistically know how much strength Anarchs will in fact get from their tools. And we know for certain that moshing is very, very powerful. So giving them moshing back and giving them that consistency back, I don't know. Like, would you rather have moshing or Hosh?
Me, Hoshiko.
Like, obviously Hosh, right?
Yeah,
Hosh. But like, it is kind of a conversation, like in some ways, you know?
I know.
And so like, is that actually like, if we are like, no, we think that with daily casts back, that Anarch is going to be at like a more appropriate power level than if they had Hoshiko, right? Like, I think the answer then is like, we can't also be giving them back moshing. Hopefully that.
No,
that
I
helps.
was just. I can definitely understand why neither of them were banned. I'm just asking like where they tested to be unbanned, because I am like the small minority that thinks Cyberdeck would be fine.
Fair.
Just checking.
It's a way
It's
of getting Scoring Corpse back something that's.
It looks like scoring is coming back.
Oh, I think scoring is definitely coming
scoring
back.
Scoring is 100% coming back. PD is so back, baby. I'm so happy.
Yeah, PD. PD definitely. Oh, I think I mentioned somewhere. Where did I mention that? No, I don't know if I publicly mentioned that. But there is some point in playtesting where you know, we had like Event Horizon, we had a luxury line. Oh, I know what it was. Am I going to tell this story? Yeah, I'm going to tell this story. This is fine. So there was a time when Let Them Dream was in fact a 5/3, right? And said, well, this agenda is in the runner square area. It's like one less agenda point. This is not the exact text. It was like if you had like basically if you had 2 of Let Them Dream, the 5/3 version, it was 5 points, right? It wasn't 4 points. So it was like a single one was like 2 points, and then the next one that you would steal or whatever would be 3 points. So we tried something like that, and we just generally within NSG like have conversations around like reprints and like what kind of like what thing is an appropriate thing to reprint, what thing do we want to try to put our own spin on, you know? And I was like, there was a certain point when we were in testing where I was like, I think that it would just be the biggest shame if we did rotation. We went through all this effort. We managed to put out a set in under a year, right? Like, and I don't mean from Elevation's release till now. What I mean is the set didn't exist. Like, this is March 1st that we're recording this. I went back and checked the timelines on things like March 1st, 2025, the set didn't exist yet. It would be such a shame for us to go through all this effort. And then like the best deck or whatever is like, I just rebuilt Rotom Appliances, like 2022 world's winning PD list. Like if I should just somehow like, I'm playing the exact same deck that I was playing before, that's a failure. Not from an SBT perspective, just like as card game players, we do want new experiences. Like that's part of the reason why we play card games, right? It's to like have some things change on us. Like if we wanted to go, like you can go back and like play Classic, right? We want some new things that are familiar, but like do in fact encourage us to like look at things in a new way. I don't know how you got on this. I think it was an SBT related question
about PD being so
comment,
back.
And that's it. Yes, PD is back, but PD is back in a new and different way, and we're gonna actually have to try to solve it rather than literally just being like, cool, we have a strong code gate back, we have Ikuo, we have a GFI, we have like whatever, we can just go look up a deck list from 5 years ago.
I've been just taking the old lists and it has still been pretty good.
Which old lists?
Like what I played in 2023 Bergamo. I'm playing kind of a similar thing, and it's cooking people.
Sure. I mean, wait, Runner or Corp?
I mean, PD specifically.
It was cooking people in Elevation Standard?
No, the new one. Without all the new cards, of course, but like just testing stuff out. Yeah.
Well, I think that, I don't know, you don't have Gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Right, which was definitely super relevant.
It definitely hurts that way, but you can play Ikowo and GFI in the same deck, which is pretty good.
yeah, and like the thing is like that's different, right? Like
yeah, it's different. It's not exactly the same. It's just similar.
Yeah,
and I think and like some people will moan about that, but I will be hella happy.
I even think that Event Horizon on its own does do some things pretty differently. Like
yeah, it's really different than like Border Control actually is, where it's the game, like it looks the same, but the gameplay patterns where it fits less in the specific decks, and you play around it differently. Like you can just super early phase check through an Event Horizon like you couldn't do with Border Control.
Yep. And like I don't know, it costs 4, not 3. On the face check, is also relevant.
I mean, if they install a actual program and then face check, it's way worse for them also. So that also makes stuff up. Yeah,
and the fact that it's a Sentry also does really like it changes. It just changes how other factions import it and think about it. I mean, it also changes. It's like it does. I think make it a Wayland Sentries. They're good, but like generally speaking, like the barrier slot is already pretty competitive. The fact that it's like a Sentry, I think, can make it more attractive. And this is exactly what, we should be doing with taking concepts that already existed in the game and bringing them back, when appropriate. Like, I don't think we should do it just for the sake of doing it, right? But I kind of want to talk about Tailgate for a second, because Tailgate could have just in theory been legwork, but there's still a reason to do it, which is making it so that in Crim, if they're stacking, like when you're pressuring HQ and they're stacking a bunch of ice on it, this thing is cheaper for you. And so it gives you more reason to play it in Crim. Whereas like historically legwork was most frequently seen as like 1 of or 2 of splash in the other factions. In Tailgate, I was like, can we just make this an actual crim card, please? Can we find a way to make legwork like it can still maintain its old function, right? Of being like a finisher for other things. Sorry, I'm going all over the place now, but like Brandon, when we were talking about like Nebula and like all this other stuff, like whenever we were doing the last episode, I just had to sit there and be quiet about like, oh, the tools that are in this set that like naturally prey on like making it so that like Nebula is like less of a problem, like tailgate and like word on the street.
Right. you solved it. You solved your Nebula problem.
Well, I also have to still do that now because this is just going to be my life because I'm always in future land.
So you're saying I can have touch-ups back?
Hell no.
Nope, never said absolutely not. Never. Nope.
Oh, okay.
What an egregious card. Am I right?
That's a callback.
Very good. Very good. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you would
I had one more question still. I had still one more.
Any plugs? Oh, you have one more question?
Yeah, like we were talking about the like only real fix about like how SBT can function being like card releases. Do you know, or do you have any insight on like when can people expect new cards? Is it like, again, we have to wait a year, or are we aiming for like a faster release schedule, or can you just say nothing?
Well, okay. I mean, this is not the place, and I'm not the person to announce like, next release dates or anything like that, right? I will just say that like it is a priority for me to make sure that like both of the teams that I work like that I run, dev and standard format curation team, aka SBT, both of these teams have the tools that they need to do their jobs effectively and are working efficiently and effectively. And honestly, both of my teams' jobs get a lot harder when our release pace is slower. And as someone who is also on the steering committee, like I want to make sure that we find a way to sustainably make it so that we can give players what they want. And I'm working hard to make sure that happens. So
yeah, that's a really good answer. Okay, now Brandon can.
And that is
jump
all
into
that I can share.
Yeah, 100%. I was not expecting like a set release or anything.
Next set release date in Hype Machine. Right, this one is not even out yet as time of recording. We got to plug the next one.
This is an exclusive.
Don't worry, Brandon. I'm just editing some random date for like half a year later. What Safer said.
No.
That's crazy.
Maybe like someone else is like completely off his voice. Or like, oh wait. Is there some like famous like movie quote that like gives like a date?
That
like,
would be something.
We wear pink on Fridays. I don't know.
But yes, was there anything we didn't cover that you wanted to go into, or anything that you wanted to plug?
In terms of plugs, I do have a game out on Kickstarter right now that I did development work for. It is called Glimmer Deep. It is a engine building game where you play as like a dwarven. Sorry, Mao. My pitch is really old on this. I'm sorry. You don't even play as dwarves. That was an older thing. Basically, you play as like an underground like animal like faction that is kind of building out your like own homeworld and stuff. It's a flip and write. So you like flip over a card that shows a little shape, then you kind of etch that out on your board by yourself. You collect the resources for it, and then that space that's excavated is now used for you building buildings and stuff. So I did the dev work on it, and I encourage people to check it out if they're into like board games, if that sounds cool to them. Yeah, it's just like if that sounds cool, it's something that I did work on. Other shout out is that, and this one's going to feel weird, is that Jeff and I have decided to start a podcast.
Competition?
Measured.
No.
What?
Some competition on our podcast space?
Like, I think, one, I don't know if there's really competition. I think that it's just like
joking.
people,
Wait. Who? You and who?
Jeff and I.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
because like neither one of us can ever stop talking about anything about Netrunner, I guess. He and I just talk constantly about Netrunner things. So it's just like, why don't we just do what every male friends do and just start a podcast together, right? So that's happening. Like the very first one is going to be this Thursday, so it might be like the day after this comes out.
Oh, that's hype. Is it like live? And is there like specific topics or something? Or is it more like
this Thursday?
shoot?
I think we are going to do it live. We're going to probably try it. I think we're going to try out a couple different formats, but like, I really like Hotline League from, for people that follow like League of Legends and stuff, where like people come on and like give their takes that are good or bad. And then like, the hosts like kind of like respond to it and talk about it. That seemed like a format that made sense. Like daily casts is kind of like a mix of like daily casts, and other stuff. And like, I don't know, we kind of came up with the name, like, and it was like, oh yeah, this just like works. It's like measured response, so yeah, we'll see where that goes. But
have you announced this anywhere else?
I think that Jeff has announced it somewhere. I mean, he might have put it in. I think he'd mentioned it on the last episode of Daily Casts, and I think that in the Daily Cast server he mentioned.
Yeah, the Daily Cast server got turned into the Measure Response podcast server.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the hot scoop.
I'm still saying.
I don't know if it's up on GLC.
All right, this is an exclusive.
It's the King's Court exclusive.
We're breaking news everywhere, people. Breaking news everywhere. This is exciting. I'm excited to dig into this. Thursday. You have a time?
7:30 Eastern Standard Time, so East Coast of the US / Canada yeah. If you can call in and give a take. We're looking for takes.
Yeah, very excited.
All right, so
a Yeti take so I can tear it down.
Actually, like that. Actually, you're gonna have to get up in the middle of the night and give a take.
It's 2:30 my time zone. I cannot do it. I will do the pre-recorded thing.
Take.
Yeah, I will call about my uncle into there also.
Oh, I can definitely help you with that problem. I think that was my favorite ShadowNet episode of like the last year.
You mean all three of them?
Letter. Yeah. Like, man, that letter that I like actually just started laughing out loud and had to pause it because I was laughing too much and I couldn't hear anymore. I couldn't hear the podcast anymore.
Yeah, Axel's been on.
So yeah. Axel, well done. Okay. If that was in fact you, I guess.
Nobody knows.
Wow. Okay, so you developed a new game. You got a new pod coming out.
That's true.
There's been a new band list. There's this new set. Like you're a busy man. My goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of work. Yeah. So yeah, everyone, please check out the new game. What's the game called again?
Glimmer Deep.
Glimmer Deep. Yep. Glimmer Deep.
Okay. Check that out. And check out the upcoming pod. I expect that's going to be as wonderful as it sounds. And
check out this like niche product called Netrunner Vantage Point. It releases soon, and it should be
something like that.
Yeah,
yeah, new cards in that. No, it is going to be sick. It looks really sick. I'm very excited to dig in. I think Axu has refound the joy for the game.
Excited to play PD for like half a year more.
Only half a year?
Yeah, then SBT will ban it, and I will have to start complaining again.
Oh, sure. I feel you. Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much again for coming on, Safer, and explaining the where, why, when, hows, all that good stuff.
Thank you for having me on, and thank you for letting me ramble for 2 fucking hours.
About the game we love, Netrunner.
That's true.
Everyone, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know. Again, if you have questions, drop the questions in there. Things you want us to answer. Yeah. And we outie.
We outie.